Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel and to another Flames of War battle report. This is the final of the D-Day starter set series and the channel's very first red on red game, so it should be very interesting seeing who's best after D-Day German and D-Day Waffen SS. Okay, for the final time we have the D-Day German example force, so we have a Panzer IV company with a HQ of 2 Panzer IVs, 3 Panzer IVs in a platoon and 2 Tiger tanks. In support we have 3 StuGs, Fallschirmjäger StuGs, 2 88s, 2 pumas and 3 nebs. And then we have a full platoon of armoured panzergrenadiers but with no Fausts, and you can see the attached half tracks at the back. To round off to 100 points we have the lucky command card. And for the last time, the D-Day Waffen SS experimental force. So we have a Panther company with 2 Panthers for the HQ, 3 Panthers in a platoon and 2 Tigers, and bear in mind these are all SS, but everything's SS, so we don't need to say it anymore. So we have 2 Pumas. I've used different turrets just to avoid any confusion with the Wermacht ones, and the 250 scout troop. So you got the 2 5cm guns and an MG. We also have 2 88 tank hunters, and then we have 4 2cm light AA platoon. So these are actually the infantry version, but if you assemble them like that you can put them in with your Panthers just to strengthen them a little bit. I won't say that anymore, so this is the final game for them. And then we have a 5-team SS reconnaissance, armoured reconnaissance platoon. So that's 5 teams with 5 250 half tracks. And rounding off to 100 we have also the lucky command card, and that is it, so we can have a look at the board. Okay, so here we have the table. I used the random terrain generator, so there's a lot of forest in the top half of the table, and we'll be using this for our second bulge mission with Jimmy coming up next weekend. So let's go over what we have. So we have, as you can see, the main feature is a rail line going through, and then we have a little village in the middle. There's some walls leading in, so some bulletproof cover and some crops. And then we have, these are just hedges, and in some of the fields we have some tall terrain in the form of trees. More forest, so basically the entire north of, I'll say north from me, is forest, and then we have a little ridge line here. And that is it. So quite an interesting mission. The ridge is obviously going to be key, so won't be so important in the bulge mission because it's from end to end. But this mission, both SS and Germans are picking attack, so we will see what mission there is going to be, and who, most importantly, who the attacker will be. Okay, so both sides picked attack, but there can only be one attacker. We roll for the mission first, and as you can see, the mission is contact, and then the Germans won the roll off, so they will be the attacker, and the Waffen SS defending. Okay, so now we have a mission, now we can see deployment. So the SS have chosen this side to defend, and they have pushed up with their spearhead to deny any spearhead push from the Germans this side, because this would probably provide the best concealment from the SS heavy weapons. So you got the Pumas on the right and the 250s on the left. Right behind, hidden behind this ridge, we have the reconnaissance platoon in their half tracks, so they can react to any threat from the middle of the table. We have the 2 tank hunters on the ridge. They can see down into the town, and they can see pretty good lines of fire. So they are a bit precarious on the ridge, but they are concealed, dug in foxholes. And then we have the little 2cm AA guns around this objective to hold it. So in ambush we have the Panther platoon, and in reserve we have the Tiger platoon and the HQ Panthers, and these are delayed reserves and scattered. So let's have a look at the Wehrmacht positions. We'll just show you the objectives. So we have one here, and then we have one here, and that is where the Nebelwerfers were ranged in. So we will go and see German deployment. Okay, from left to right we have the Panzer IV platoon with the Armoured panzergrenadiers in their half tracks, so they can push up here, and then we have the Panzer IV HQ and the pumas. In the town we have the 88s, the heavy 88s, so they're a bit restricted in what they can see, but one can just about see through the gap here into the scout cars and maybe anything bigger that might pop up, but they more really defend this objective the SS placed in. There's one here and one here, and then we have the Nebelwerfers in the field here that they can see the 88 on the ridge. So in reserve for the Germans, the immediate reserves, they have the Tigers and the StuGs, and that is it, and they're immediate and they're not scattered. So we're going into German turn 1. Okay, German motivation and movement, no reserves for the Germans, turn 1. The HQ and the Pumas have remained stationary because they're going to try and take on the 250s, which they should be able to do. The Panzer IV platoon has moved up tactically to engage the SS Pumas, and we have their half-tracks moving up with their little anti-tank gun at the front, hopefully to pop something that manages to survive. So that being that, we go into shooting, and the nebs are going to be trying to range in elsewhere, most likely on this bridge with the juicy targets with the tank hunters. Okay, a mixed bag for shooting for the Germans. So basically starting off, the nebs ranged in first attempt up here on the ridge. They hit both anti-tank guns and one of the little AA guns behind. The AA gun passed a save, and one of the SS failed to save, and then a 6 on a firepower cleared him out. So last stand territory over here. The Panzer IV's HQ only managed to get one hit, resulting in a kill. The Pumas missed completely. It was actually the little anti-tank gun on the half track that popped this guy. And then the Panzer IV's only got was 2 bales on the Pumas. And that is it. So we go into SS turn 1. Okay, so motivation for the SS didn't go particularly well. The 88 here failed to unpin. The 2 centimeters rallied for some reason, but luckily he didn't run away. The 250 scouts failed their last stand to run away, and then the Pumas, one got back in and one didn't, so the lucky card was used, but then they also again failed to get back in and then failed the last stand. So that being that, the Panthers kind of had to pop their ambush early because there's nothing on this flank really to defend anything, and we go now into SS movement if there's going to be any. It might not be, but we will see, so we'll come back to you after SS movement. Okay, movement wise, the only movement is these guys did a terrain dash, staying in cover, going over to try and protect this flank, and that is it. So now we go into SS shooting. Hopefully the Panthers will be able to dish out some revenge on this flank over here, and this 88 might as well get a shot off and maybe luckily get a nebel, and then we'll reduce the artillery reprisal. So we'll come back to you after shooting, seeing if anything gets done. Okay, so the 88 missed, rolling a mighty 1. The Panthers then split fired, so one went onto the half tracks and then the other 2 went onto the Panzer IVs. Now, got 3 hits, but 2 failed firepowers will get you 2 bailed Panzer IVs and 1 dead one, and then to top it off, they rolled a 3 for their shooting scoot. Now, if these were regular Panthers, that would be fine, but they're only 4+ unless their HQ is with them, and that draws SS turn 1 to a close. Okay, German motivation, turn 2. So actually, the Germans are actually doing better in this game than they've done in the rest of the series, with 2 kills to their name. So if they were to lose, it would only be a major victory for the SS. So they'll be gaining more than 1 point this time. And good news, the 2 Panzer IVs managed to get back in. Bad news is there's no reserves yet. So they will be next turn, but they could do with some reserves coming in at some point. So we'll come back to you after movement. German movement ends a bit like this. So they're going very bold. They passed a blitz move, the Panzer IVs, giving them enough move to get around the side. Now they'll only be able to see two of the Panthers potentially because of the woods, but the infantry have moved out and their half trackers come along to help them. The other Panzer IVs have done a tactical. They haven't gone any further, so use the church for cover, and the pumas are moving up as well. Although maybe one of them might get a hit from a 88 if he's not lucky. So we will be going into the shooting phase. Okay, so far in the shooting, the 2cm AA guns are pinned again, but none have died, and the 88 is no longer, thanks to the nebs, who are doing very well. Over here, the Panzer IV closest to me missed the Panther, but then this Panzer IV hit, but only got a bale, and then the little anti-tank gun almost got another bale, but the SS rolled a 2 on their save. So there will be an assault coming in. Basically, this guy unfortunately is going to get clobbered by the infantry unless these guys can counterattack and help him out. Otherwise, this flank is looking very, very dodgy for the Germans. The SS. God, this is going to be confusing. So we will be going into the assault phase and seeing what will happen. More pain and misery for the SS. The 4 guys made it in because there was no defensive fire because everything was blocked by the bailed tank. 4 hits in the assault and rolled a 1, but luckily passed the remount. The SS did pass their counterattack but decided to break off, cut their losses. And then this guy managed to get stuck, didn't he? And now he's dead. So we were down to 1 SS Panther going into SS turn 2. Well, what a surprise. The SS failed to unpin their AA guns, and then the fearless SS, being fearless, run away. Sorry, Panzer Franke, to steal that quote from you. So this objective, apart from the infantry coming across very quickly, is not looking very good. So we will get into movement and see what the SS can do. Okay, so this is it. The 250s have moved around and they've left their anti-tank gun behind. Hopefully get a lucky shot on the Panzer IV and they fail their save and get these guys to last stand. But that's a lot of ifs and buts. Germans are definitely in control of this game. And the SS definitely need the reserves to come on, and they definitely need them in the right place as well. So we go into SS shooting, and the only thing they've got is the little anti-tank gun. And they miss. So we go into German turn 3. Okay, German motivation. The StuGs have come on, and they've come on over this side to threaten this objective, because just in case anything does go hairy over here, the StuGs can maybe save the day. And they did a cross-country dash with a follow me, and again, fearless guys are not interested. Other movement, everything's tactically moving up. The Panzer IVs and pumas now knowing nothing too deadly is lurking over here. Maybe something might be rumbling on from reserve, we don't know yet. Panzer IVs have moved on to contest the objectives, so these will need to be removed or contested themselves by the SS. And this guy, who is bagging himself a little man of the match award at the moment, is going to see if he can shoot his counterpart in the 250 SS anti-tank gun. So we'll come back and see what happens. Okay, so the nebs over here continued their repeat bombardment over here, getting 2 hits, but luckily these guys are passing their saves. Over here, the anti-tank gun managed to bail, but the Panzer IV finished it off. And again, I think it must be these SS dice. The guy inside died, couldn't get out. So basically, SS reserves need to come on. Otherwise, the infantry, who are aggressive, need to somehow survive on this objective with a full armoured panzergrenadier platoon over here able to push them off. So will the SS manage to get some reserves on and hold this flank? And also, they need to randomise where's coming on. So there's a lot that needs, and they've already burnt their lucky card as well. So let's see if they can do it. Okay, so these guys rolled a 2 for their rally, and then reserve roll. Get a 6. Oh boy, they're coming in. But they get a 2. So they're coming over this side. which is not helpful in the slightest. So we go into SS movement. Okay, so the SS Tigers are moving as quickly as they can, which is 18 inches, and they've also done a follow me and pass to cross check, so these guys might be man of the match with their little movement. The recon platoon has gone into the woods, and all but one of the 250s has managed to get in. Now these guys do get to keep going to ground, although this guy might ruin it with these Panzer IVs being able to move around, but there's still a fair bit to shift off this objective, and they are in woods, but these are aggressive infantry, and that's pretty much all the SS can muster in this turn, and the Germans will be bringing the last of their reserves on in turn 4. Okay, German movement. The StuGs have done a tactical move, might dig out some of these AA guns with their anti-tank guns. Over here, well, who knows. So basically the Panzer IVs have moved over to direct shot into the scout cars, and then the infantry are forming up, hopefully to finish off the SS, and their half tracks have moved up. As well, the HQ's moved up to give some motivation, and the pumas are just joining in. And the Tigers have moved on, doing a cross-country dash and a failed follow me. So we have shooting, and then we have maybe a final assault. So over here the StuGs managed to get 2 hits, but no kills. Good saves over here. Over here the Panzer IVs managed to kill one of the half-tracks. They should have been going for the infantry, who are down to 2 bases at the moment. So there's still a lot of defensive fire for the German infantry, but if they can get in, they might be able to win this game, because once these infantry go, their company and transport will go with them. So we will come back to you after this assault. So it was very foolish, but the Germans have had quite a bit of luck this game, but they had 7 hits on them defensive fire. Didn't realise that the 250s had that many shots, but they lost 3 guys in the process and are pinned. But these guys are going to be last standing, and the way the SS motivation has been going this game could be game as we go into SS turn 4. Okay, is this going to be a turning point in the fortunes of the Waffen SS? A 1 for the rally roll over here, a 1 for the rally roll for the SS, but they rolled a 6 to stick around. Then there was a 5 on the reserves, and then another 1, which is actually good in this case, because the Panthers have turned up here to secure the objective and, well, hopefully do the work to get rid of these Panzer IVs and then work on towards glory. So the fortunes of the Germans might change, so we will go into SS movement. Okay, so SS infantry have managed to dig in. These guys have already moved on, and the 2 Tigers managed to get out of the woods, and they move in. Now they can see the HQ Panzer IVs, and these can see those Panzer IVs, so I think the SS have just been luring us into an elusive trap, so we will see what happens. Okay, so this Tiger tank here could not see the Panzer IVs, so he hosed down the infantry here, didn't kill him, but got 2 hits. The other Tiger missed. The 2 Panthers managed to kill one of the Panzer IVs, only getting 1 hit, and then a lot of fire went from the half-tracks into the infantry. Didn't get many, did get a kill though, so then the infantry opened up to get our final kill to hopefully get them to fail a last stand, but they do have a reroll from the HQ, and that is where we end SS turn 4, so now we have German turn 5. German motivation, these guys rally and pass their last stand, but the Panzer IV fails. So what to do for the Germans? So we go into their movement phase. Okay. Movement. The pumas have moved over this way, trying to divert attention or do something. The StuGs, the Fallschirmjäger StuGs, their unit leader remains stationary, and the other ones have moved up tactical speed, trying to wiggle these guys out a bit. Now they can't get hurt because they're anti-tank 5, so as long as they put their front armour towards them, nothing's happening to them. Panzer IVs did a blitz move and then a tactical to get out of the bloody way. The Tigers should be able to see maybe one of the Tiger, and then the other one did a cross check into the woods. And that is it. So now we go into shooting. German shooting. Can shoot because this only provides a bit of concealment, doesn't block on the edge of the woods. It's not like buildings. One hit on the Tiger and it got bounced. So it's strange seeing Tigers versus Tigers, but these guys will get a reply at some point. Over here, there's a lot of shots onto these poor infantry, but they only failed one of their saves, and the firepower was no good because it was from MGs. And that is it. One of the AA guns have gone down, unfortunately, so there's a bit of trouble here for the SS in this corner as well as the other corner, so we will go into SS turn 5. SS motivation. The AA guns rallied, the infantry rallied, but then ran away, and unfortunately too far away to get the motivation from their formation commander. So that leaves it like that, basically. So we have SS movement, and they're still potentially in the game. SS movement. One of the Tigers has moved over, taken cover, but so you can see the other Tiger. Panthers remain still. They're going to try and dig out this infantry and help rescue this objective. And then on the other side, one of the AA guns have moved to try and cover this one, so they're not on the ground anymore. Some of them are still in foxholes, but they are in the forest. So that is it. So now we go into SS shooting. Okay, shooting. A Tiger hit another Tiger, but again, bounced it. The Panthers managed to kill one of the infantry teams, so again they're still last standing, but one less of them. And that is it. So now we go into German turn 6. Okay, German movement. The Panzer IVs again have continued to move around. Tigers are going to remain stationary. Infantry are going to remain stationary. Pumas are moving over to try and assist the StuGs, who have moved into assault position. They're not the best for assaulting, but they're going to have to do, basically. So we are going to go into German shooting. Okay, shooting phase. The Pumas didn't hit anything, unfortunately. These guys fired their main guns. Should have fired the MGs because this guy is out in the open, but there we go. But they can still charge in, and I don't think there's really much the SS can do, but we'll see. Tiger, another Tiger hit, but another Tiger bounce, and that is it. So now we go into the assault. Okay, so this assault was interesting. Only one of the StuGs actually made it in. He got hit twice, but luckily his bazooka skirts really helped him out, because the firepower on these guys is a 5+, so his side armor went up to 5, so it was okay. He did roll a 2 and a 1, and then the firepower was not converted, so he's okay. So the 5 equals a 6. He didn't kill anyone, but then the SS broke off, and then 2 of them couldn't dig their guns out, and yeah, so the SS basically need to kill 2 Tigers to win the game. So good luck, fellas, as we go into SS turn 6. Okay, first things first, his motivations. He rallied and passed his last stand, so he may be able to get rid of a few Pumas and restore some pride for the SS. The Panther, the HQ Panther, has moved up since it's going to be their last turn if they can't do anything about it. So he can take on the Tiger tank. And I'll get back to you, because basically this guy should move up a bit more, because it doesn't matter about this objective anymore, because it matters about breaking the formation. So he's moved again, and he's moved tactical and has gone into the forest. So might be able to go for the Panzer IVs, one of them. So might as well all concentrate on the Tiger tanks. So we will see what happens. Okay, so the 2cm did nothing, missed completely. The Panthers missed completely, but it didn't matter because the Tiger had already blatted one of the Tigers. So it all comes down to this. A Tiger tank passing a 2-up, last stand check, with a reroll from his HQ. So this to determine a very interesting game in the end. So first attempt, he's done it. And with that, the Germans will win, because they will start their turn and end their turn on this objective. with the StuGs taking the victory. We were a well-earned victory for them, and finally the Germans getting a win. Let's see how many units they've lost. So they've lost Panzer IVs, and I believe that is it. So that is a stunning victory for them. That's the only loss. So not bad. Well done, Germans. You've got a win against the SS, and you've done it in style. So man of the matches, we have it's going to have to be the SS Tigers again. Oh no, it's going to be the Panther HQs, because they came in and stopped the game ending. Honourable mention to the SS panzergrenadier platoon as well for holding their ground. For the Germans, well, it might have to be the Panzer IV platoon, because they took out the big boys. They did lose in the end, but they took out helped bail a Panther, and then the Panzergrenadiers helped it. So that wouldn't have happened without the Panzer IVs, so they are the man of the match for the Germans. And there we go, a very well fought win for the Germans. Their daring has proved a decisive victory, and a good victory as well. So the following slides will show the final scores. British will top the list. They do tie with the Americans on points, but considering the British beat the Americans in their match, I feel it's only fair to call the British first place. And then there'll be more slides showing who were the key units, which were the MVPs from the 3 matches. The British only have 2, because the M10s were awarded twice, but the Germans, for the SS, you will see a ×2 next to their ones. So that's it. Thank you for persevering with this little mini series I did. It was actually really fun playing with these starter sets with limited resources, but I think it's a really good way to learn the rules of the game, and a good way to start your collections if you're new to Flames of War, or you're expanding into any of these D-Day factions. So until then, everyone stay safe. If you like the channel, want more content, please subscribe. It does help out, and every comment is welcome. And it's always interesting hearing what you have to say about the channel and the video. So till then, everyone stay safe.